Alrighty then. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Matthew Baker of Beautiful New York Tours. We are coming up on the end of the 2-hour mark for this second round of virtual tours. So after our next video, we'll take another little break for a week or two and then come back with a new set. In the meantime, I want to fill a request that came in quite early in the course of these videos when an old friend of mine asked me to do a piece about Salvador Dali in New York. Now, Salvador Dali was one of those very rare visual artists who was quite famous and quite well off in his own day. He didn't have to wait until he was dead to become respected and admired in the world of the arts. So he had a few different homes in Paris and in his native Catalonia, but his third home definitely was New York City. He spent many autumns and winters here in New York, especially at his favorite suite at the St. Regis Hotel. The St. Regis Hotel is a beautiful luxury hotel in Midtown. It's right around the corner from the Museum of Modern Art, conveniently enough. And he stayed at a room there with his wife Gala, his famous muse, who is in so many of his paintings, and their pet ocelot, because Dali. Now, if you want to follow in Dali's footsteps in New York City, one journey you really need to make is out to Flushing Meadows, Queens, to the site of the 1939 World's Fair. Dali had and maintained a pavilion at the World's Fair called Dream of Venus. The fish head that you see in the image was a booth where you would buy a ticket to go into the pavilion. The financing for the booth was handled by a rubber tycoon who manufactured rubber fishtails which women wore to portray mermaids inside the booth. But Dali wanted to do more than that. He wanted to recreate the Botticelli painting, The Birth of Venus, and put a fish head on Venus. So basically making her a mermaid in reverse. And the businessman said no, that was a little bit too avant-garde for his taste. And Dali got very upset, insisted that he was being censored, and distributed all these pamphlets insisting that mankind should be free to embrace his own madness. Well, when you're Dali, you do that. But of course, Dali also, is best honored in New York by visiting museums. He had his first exhibit in the city when he was very young. He was 29 years old when he had his first exhibit, and was only 35 when he did the World's Fair. So again, started young, started early, and gained a huge amount of success in his own lifetime. But you can see Dali's work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. They have quite a few paintings in their collection, but only one on permanent display, and that is the Corpus Christi, his crucifixion scene. There are a few more on display at the Museum of Modern Art, which of course is very convenient to the St. Regis, and probably the most famous of those is his legendary work, A Persistence of Memory. Now, after you've gotten your fill of the art, go to the St. Regis and have the Dali tea. He loved to sit in the Astor Court, the cafe there at the hotel, and have afternoon tea. And last year, the hotel launched a Dali-inspired tea that is served on a painter's palette. You can also go into the King Cole bar and have the drink that was invented there, the Red Snapper. You might know it better by its more modern name, the Bloody Mary. Dali loved to attract personal attention, and New York City was a perfect city for him in many ways. He loved its restless energy, he loved its nonconformism, but at the same time, he didn't love one of the things that many New Yorkers do love about their city, and that is the anonymity. You could walk down with a dwarf leopard on the streets and no one would bat an eye. He once said to a friend that it's amazing how you can manage to never attract attention in this city. But that, of course, was not what Dali wanted. He was as much a work of art as any of his paintings. He very much followed in the footsteps that way of his spiritual ancestor, Oscar Wilde, in terms of forming his own legend and letting his unusual and erratic behavior become such a subject matter for the gossip pages in the paper that he himself, his own personality, was as much a work of art and was as surreal as any of those paintings. So if you would like to follow in the footsteps of this fascinating Catalan artist, once it is safe to do so, please check me out at Beautiful New York Tours. You can search Beautiful New York Tours on Facebook or email me at baker.tours@yahoo.com. Again, that is baker.tours@yahoo. Thank you very much.